Everyone, welcome in part 2 of my coffin shaped album tutorial, and we already have the album base prepared, and now we will decorate all the pages and the cover. I am working with Mintopia's This is Halloween collection, and I'm going through 12 by 12 paper pad to choose patterns that I will use for my pages. I am using the stencil we created in the previous part for the page size. We were using it to create black pages inside the album. So I traced it around and I need to make it a little bit more narrow because I want to have the black outline on each page. So I'm deducting like 2 millimeters from each side, just using the ruler and the eye because it's not a big gap, so you can easily judge it with your eyes. And then I'm cutting out this smaller sized page out of a pattern paper, and I will repeat this process 10 times because we have 5 pages of the album, so we need 10 pages to cover them. Plus, we will need 2 pages for the covers, but they will have slightly different size, so I will do it later. So this is how it looks, and it fits perfectly. And what I'm doing now, it's not something you have to do. You can either stitch around each page to add a little bit something extra. I was too lazy for the stitching, but I love this stitching effect. So I'm using this tool. This is a tool for tailors, and it kind of create those tiny dots, so like false stitchings, the same ones you get when you die cut something with the die. So I just created this on all of the pages. So all 10 pages already have them. And now it's time to glue down each page to the album base. But first I need to determine if some of the pages need to be placed in specific um, not order, but so the things won't be upside down. So some of them can be only used on the left or on the right side, and some of them are versatile, so can be used either way. That's why I needed to divide my papers into left or right side, to make sure that nothing will be upside down on the pattern papers, especially on the paper where I have like those elixirs and mixtures in those tiny little glass bottles. This was the most important, to have it in the right direction. So I'm just using glue, gluing everything down directly to the album pages. Nothing fancy here, nothing complicated. Mm, just going through all the pages. And I'm taking the paper from the right side or from the left side, depending if it's the right side of the album or the left side of the album. My voice may seem a little bit strange to you because for the last 2 weeks I am a little bit sick, like I got a cold, nothing, serious, but it kind of affected my voice, so it's very, very deep. At least this is how I hear myself in my head, but I may not sound like me. Uh, I made this album like in 2 or 3 days, which is like very fast for me. Album base was not complicated, and this black American craft cardstock was really, really easy to work with. It wasn't like, tearing on the edges. It was very, how to call it, elastic, and I really liked working with it. I'm barely using black cardstock, so I was surprised it worked so well. And the pattern papers I chose are in an orange, yellow, pinkish, and purple colors. This collection also have a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but blue elements and papers in blue shades, but I skipped those. I decided I will stick to this more limited color palette and more traditional for Halloween, because blue doesn't seem as Halloween-ish as the colors that I am using, like orange, yellow, and purple. And you can see how nice they look when they are visible on the side. But in this paper, you can see that some moons are blue. That's why I decided to skip the blue to keep it more cohesive. Otherwise, it will be just very colorful, which is also great if you like colorful Halloween elements. And I am spooky cute Halloween girl, so I always like to use all those cute papers and elements. I'm not a fan of this scary, serious, gothic Halloween. So this collection, this is Halloween, this is the perfect one for me. And I'm leaving you the links in the description box if you would like to purchase it. It's a Spanish brand. It's being sold in Kimidori Shop, which is like the owner of Mintopia brand. And the Kimidori Shop ships all over the Europe. So you can just check their website. If you are outside the Europe, you can always contact them via email and ask whether they would be, mm, able to ship to your country. Uh, Now it's time to glue the covers with something pretty. And for this, I could not use the stencil for the pages because it was just too small. I used the stencil we had for the covers, but again, I need to trim a little bit on the sides because I want to have this black outline. So it was just trial and error type of thing. I was measuring everything, putting it onto the page and trying if I need to trim some side a little bit. And when I was happy with the result, I just was able to glue everything down, and I did the same with the back cover. So I was just measuring everything uh, without a ruler and specific measurements. Now we need to unglue the protective paper from the magnets we added, and we can decorate this side with the pattern paper. And I use this ice paper, but I already have one page inside decorated with it. It's very cute. I really like it. This paper gave me idea on decorative elements that anyone can easily make, and I will show you in a second how to make them. Those are the googly scary eyes that you can make using either circle punchers in variety of sizes, or you can use circular dies if you have them. And I bet you do have them because this is the most basic shape. And this element is so fun that I made it for this page in the album, but I also created separate layout using those eyes, and I will share it later, maybe this week or the next week, depending on the schedule of my postings. So I will show you those googly eyes later. My album is ready when it comes to pattern papers, and now it's time to add pictures and decorate everything with pieces from This is Halloween collection. But first, I'm going through all the pictures. They are all the same size, and I'm grouping them because each page can contain two photos, and I just want to pair them to know which should go together. I also wanted to decide the neighbor pages, so the pictures would look good when you open the album on the left and on the right. And I wanted to incorporate this process into this video. This shows you how I organize my work when I'm working with mini album that has pictures. So I group the pictures that I want to use, and I'm using bigger paper clips to temporarily hold them onto the page. Mm, so I'm just using the paper clip, mounting the pictures that I want to use. And then when I am working with the pages, I just unclip everything one page by one page. And this way I have everything organized. If the album is much, much bigger than this one, well, travel album with dozens of pictures, like 200, of course, I kind of group them in a little bit different way with um, little envelopes or cards when I note this is page 1, this is page 2, and when I come to this page, I just unbuckle this packet and see how to accommodate those photos. I also played with Edge Puncher. I have this one with bubbles, little dots, and I thought it looks similar to the eyes that I am using and I'm seeing on the page. So yeah, this is the puncher. So I'm just creating few edges in different colors from the paper pad, the papers I used to make pages, and I will tag them behind the pictures to add something, some visuals to build some layers. So I just created few of those, and if I will need more, I will reach for the puncher and I will create more. I am ready to start decorating the pages. I recorded few of those. I don't think I recorded all of them because let's be honest, this is like a very repetitive process. I'm not doing anything fancy schmancy. And this is the moment where I decided to make those eyes. So I took white cardstock, it will be the first layer. Then a slightly smaller circle will be the iris of the eye. So we need something colorful. And I am using this is Halloween paper pad with just solids. And this is great for die cutting, great for small little drops of color, and there are no patterns in this paper pad. And we need the third smaller circle for the, I don't know what is this black part of the eye, and the tiny little puncher with like really, really tiny dot to create white spot, like a blink of a light in your eye. You can stop here and you can still see it's an eye, but I think this tiny little accent, this tiny white little dot adds something special to each eye. So I'm just adding it, and each eye will look like this. You can, of course, create different sizes, the bigger and smaller one. You can even create a really giant ones if you have punchers or dies in the size you need. So I'm just playing with them. I created several of the eyes and I will build my layers. And this is where those edges I created comes. They will be tagged behind the picture. I'm just ripping edges on the left and right to make it more uh, like less squarey. I don't know how to name it a different way. And I'm cutting out a little square of black paper, trimming it into two triangles, and I'm tagging it behind the corners. This is a very fun way to add color if you don't want to add a big layer. So you can just add those corners and you will have something colorful, but it will not be overwhelming to the eye. So I just added those corners, and you can easily make it with square cut it in half. And I'm decorating everything with my eyes. I think I wanted to add this purple dots, but I skipped it mm, to make it more simple with just black color, and then decorate everything with the eye. Maybe I will reach for the purple, but I don't think so. So some of the eyes are glued down flat and some of them are glued down with layers of with layers of foam tape. I have a lot of space in between the pages, 1 centimeter apart, so I have quite a lot of room to add dimension to my page, and the album will still close nicely. It won't be opening by itself. So I added eyes, and now I'm adding the word boo, and this is from the stickers from This is Halloween collection. But please keep in mind that this title sticker sheet is bilingual, so you have both English and Spanish titles. So if you do not speak Spanish, some of those stickers won't be usable for you. After adding bigger eyes, I'm going with smaller eyes. You can find those in this cute sheet of puffy stickers. And my first page is done. I'm just checking if it's closing nicely. And then I can proceed with decorating another page, gluing down the pictures first. I never glue down photos to the very edges. This way I still have room to tag elements behind them, like in this case. So I'm tagging elements behind them and then going through other embellishments. This is the ephemera pack. There are also a lot of dies that you can find in this collection. So if you are running out of ephemera pieces, you can create yourself a whole new set with the dies. For this album, I wanted to keep it fast, so I decided to use pre-made elements. The dies I, of course, used, but I used them to make cards, and some of the dies I used to make a cover of this album, but we will come there later. If your pictures are smaller than mine, you can create a smaller size of this album. Or if you have a smaller amount of the pictures, you can make it much, much smaller. This way it will look even cuter. A tiny little coffin. I have dies from scrapbook.com. They are nested dies in a shape of coffin. So if you have dies like this, they may help you create the album base you desire. So you could use them instead of just creating your own coffin shape. Otherwise, I feel like this shape is very simple to create your album base by yourself. And I'm moving to another page. I didn't record all of the pages. I only have like maybe 2 or 3 minutes of decorating the album left. And then we will proceed to the cover, which is much more complicated. Well, not much, but more complicated because it has shaker. But this shaker is not like very quick and fast usual shaker you would make. It requires a little bit of um, a little bit of technicality, but don't worry, I will walk you through the process. And this is where I'm adding those tiny little corners. And again, gluing things to not to the very edge makes embellishing your albums or layout very, very easy and handy. You can easily tag elements behind them. I really like this cute cat in a witch hat, and there is also a die that you can use to create a cat like this. There is the whole set of dies in this collection where you can create spooky little animals. So you have 2 dogs and I think 2 cats, and you can make them without any costumes, or you can add costumes on top of the shape of the dog or a cat, and you can get such a cute pages this way. Pages or cards, or you can use the dice without costumes for like someone who likes pets card. So maybe you need to thank your veterinarian or something. So you can create card using it. I like looking for like alternative ways of using up your products. And there is also a haunted mansion die in this collection. And you can either make it a haunted mansion using Halloween colors, which I did. I have a whole card made with this die, and it's already on my Instagram or Facebook, so you can check it out. But I can totally see using this die with like a Christmas page with tiny little details like maybe lights or snow or ornaments, something like this. So you can reach for this set more often, and it can justify more the purchase of the product. So, the papers, the embellishments, you will use them up and they will be gone. but when it comes to stamps or ties, I always reevaluate my purchase before I will click the checkout button, because sometimes something looks really nice and I have tons of things that I just thought they are nice and cute, but then when it came to using them in my scrapbooking process, I maybe use them once and that's all, which is like, a little bit too little to justify the costs of those things, because they are usually more expensive than papers embellishments. So looking for alternative ways of using up your stash is always a good idea, especially before you click the buy button, as you know. This is something we are guilty of, buying things because they are pretty, not only because they are useful. So, skipping to the cover, all the pages are already decorated, and I took the page stencil, and you can see the word page on top of it. We will create a shaker, something that looks like we have a skeleton inside the coffin, but the coffin will be a shaker. So I'm using the shape of the page, and then I'm adding inside lines that are slightly, like, smaller than the shape of the coffin on the outside. This will be our shaker size. So those lines, I didn't measure them with the ruler, but they are the size of the foam tape I'm going to use for the shaker. You can, of course, build the layers with the cardboard. You don't have to use the foam for the shaker. But I had the black one, which was just perfect, so I used that. And I'm cutting out the inner part of the coffin, so this will be my shaker window. And I cannot do this with my paper trimmer, so I need to use the knife, and I'm just cutting it out. Here you can also adjust the thickness of the walls of the coffin. Um, Again, I'm not sure if it's 2 centimeters. I was just eyeballing. I wasn't measuring anything. I was just trying to keep it all the same size on each side of the shape. So if you feel like your eye isn't too precise, you can measure everything. So we have this shape, and it will be our shaker base. And then I want to make it black on the outside. So I went through the pieces of black cardstock that I used for the album base, but those that I use are just too small, so I need to find the full page. Yeah, so this will be on top of this coffin, and I'm applying glue on the cardboard. This is the thicker cardboard, not the one that I'm usually using to build layers on the albums and on the layouts. So I'm gluing it down, and I'm keeping um, space around it. So we will need that space. Do not trim it too close to the coffin shape. You can have, like, I think at least 3 centimeters on each side to be safe. And now we need to cut out the inner part of the shaker. We need to wrap this around to create the window. So I'm just using knife, and I'm not being very precise. You need to leave like centimeter and a half inside, and it doesn't have to be straight. You won't be able to see those lines. We need to wrap them around our inner part of the shaker. This way we will have a really nice edges here and there. So I'm just wrapping it around, and I will use glue to glue it down. And as you can see, this part cannot be bigger than the shaker itself, because it will stick on the outside of the shaker. So if your paper is bigger, trim it down so it will be kept inside the frame of the coffin, like this. I'm just gluing everything down. I use the scissor on the corner, not the scissor, the knife on the corners to split the paper. If you have something that has rectangular shape, you only need to do it in the corners, but in case of a coffin, we have more corners. So I needed to make it on each side. Just cut to the very corner and then wrap everything around. And we will do it on this side only, on the inner part, because for the outer part, we will wrap around the thicker layer. Because for each shaker, you need the top layer, you need the piece of acetate, which I'm going right now. Then you need some thickness. So sometimes you add layers of the same size of paper. Sometimes you add foam. Sometimes you add layers of cardboard, depending on how thick your um, shaker is. But I'm just adding this double-sided sticky tape inside first to add layer of acetate sheet. And I have to unstick it first, and it's not an easy task. It's keeping very, very strong. So I just need to um, rip off this top layer, add my acetate. You can cut your acetate to the size first, but I was just too lazy to do that previously, so I will just glue the bigger sheet and I will trim it on the edges, just on the shaker. Already it won't be visible on the outside, so this is what I'm doing. I just glue everything down. I'm trimming the excess and trimming it even more so it will stay in a shape of a coffin. This is the part. You can do it prior to gluing everything down. For me, it's just easier and faster to do it this way. And we have a top layer of our shaker ready. And now we need to add thickness dimension, which I will be doing using this foam tape. It's a black foam tape, so it won't be different in the inside than the top layer. If you have white, you can use some permanent black marker to color the inner side of your shaker, so it will not look weird as a white part. And I need to be very thorough because otherwise, if there will be gaps, my glitter will fall out from the shaker. So you need to be quite precise to close any gaps. And I'm going around my shaker in two layers, on the outside and on the inside. And I'm trying to stick as close to the edges as possible. And after the first round of foam tape, I will go the second time because I want my shaker to be thick and I need a bigger thickness than it's already is. I think I use 3 layers, 3 millimeters thick foam, so my shaker will be like 6 millimeters thick. And I need to rip off the protective layer and add the second exactly the same layer of the foam tape. Again, you can create exactly the same shapes with cardboard and just add one top on top of another. Uh, I am not sure which will be more simple for you. You can also build it with different size of the foam. Like if you have twice this size, you can only make one row. You don't have to go twice on the inside and on the outside edge. So I'm just going 2 times, making sure that the tapes connect without any gaps. Otherwise, I will start losing my feeling of the shaker. If you are only filling it with the sequins, it's not a problem. Sequins are not that small. But if you are adding glitter too, just be sure you don't have gaps because otherwise your glitter will fall out over and over again. And we don't want glitter anywhere. So this is the second layer, and now I can kind of wrap the paper around it, creating the closed shaker. So I'm just pressing the bone folder on the edges to make to make the edge sharp. And then, knowing that it will be about 6 millimeters, I'm adding the second scoring line, so the edge will be like very nice and sharp. So I'm going around. This is the thickness of the shaker that I'm marking here. And again, it will add nice scoring lines around the shaker. And we will also have to cut like this, only to the scoring line, and then be careful. Sorry. It's better to do something twice than do something fast and then have to worry about the final effect. And now we need to trim down the excess paper because it cannot be bigger than the width of the coffin itself, because it will be visible on the window. So we need to trim it down a little bit. That's why we needed the paper to be bigger. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap everything around, checking if it's not sticking out in the window. It's looking good. On this side, I think it's a little bit too big. No, it's not too big. I thought here it will be too big, but it must have been good. And one by one, I'm going with the paper. Oh yeah, it was too big, so I'm trimming it right now. One by one, gluing everything, pressing into this foam glue, and on some edges we need extra trim off, so the corners will look nicely. But this is something you have to work out by yourself in the process of making this shaker. You just need to be like, slow and check everything out twice to make sure everything looks nice. If you would get some gaps or something, you can take black marker and color it. So even though it will be visible like the foam, white foam from the inside, you will just glue the color it and it won't be that visible. You will have to know that there is a problem to look for it. And I'm wrapping around everything, and my shaker is almost done. So I would say it was the hardest part of the whole decorating process of the album, this shaker. I am not so fluent into making them. I know that are many girls, especially in Spain, I would say, they love creating shakers like this on top of their albums, so they are pros in making pretty shakers. So this is it. This is, of course, the inner part. You have to rotate it. Yeah, this will be how it looks on the outside. I need to clean the foil from the glue or anything else, and this is how it will look. I went and cut out those two skeletons. They are made with dies from the collection. There is a die set with skeleton only, and it comes in parts. You have to glue it together. So you can kind of pose your skeleton a little bit. You can change their how their hands or legs are, arranged. So I'm adding a layer of foam tape. This time I chose white because it will be, maybe it may be visible from behind the skeleton, so it's nice to have it white so it won't be such a big contrast. And I'm ripping off the protective sheet and I will glue it down the way it will look like it's, the skeleton in the coffin, staged like you usually stage the dead body in the coffin. So with the hands on the abdomen, sometimes they put the hands on your top, I don't know, on your breasts, I would say, crossed or something, but I stage my skeleton like this. I also have the second one waving, and the second one will go on top of the coffin. I also cutted out this um, spider web and a spider, and it's one die. So you have one die with just a spider, um, and the spider web, it's all connected, but you can cut it with white for the spider web and with black for the spider, and just trim the spider and glue it on top of the white one. And I'm also arranging bottom of the coffin with some elixirs, some ghosts, some bones, using those tiny little um, puffy stickers. So I'm just building the decoration inside, and when I will be happy how it looks, I can fill my shaker with everything like sequins, glitter, tiny beads, whatever you like to fill your shaker with. And this one is thick, so you can use even the bigger elements like those tiny little gems or something like that. It's all up to you. And I think I am happy with how it looks. Now I can start filling the shaker. Just remember to apply everything on top in the middle of your shaker, so you will have your edges free, because we need to glue down our shaker on those edges. And if you go beneath the shaker, the glue will not stick well, and you will have some, you know, problems with leaking of your elements outside the shaker. I also have those sequins in Halloween shapes like witches, ghosts, spiders, pumpkins. So I chose to add few on the shaker too. I wanted to have something orange, and believe me or not, I ran out of orange sequins already. I don't know why I have all the colors of the rainbow, but not orange one. Okay, so I filled I added everything that I needed, and now I'm applying glue on the back of my shaker, and I will be covering everything with this one. So just make sure everything is, when it comes to the filling of the shaker, placed in the middle, and I'm pressing everything down to make sure the glue sticks well. And after my glue will be dry, I can kind of move the shaker to check if it looks nicely. And now I'm applying the second skeleton. This already has a layer of foam tape behind it, and I'm decorating the coffin with some extra ghosts from embellishments from die cuts pack. I will also add the title, and the title will be just Halloween and the date. I'm not scrapbooking the recent Halloween. This is 2017, I think. So it's not a fresh set of pictures. I think it was the COVID Halloween or pre-COVID or something like that. So I'm just adding the year on the cover of the album to make sure I will not mix up the dates. So everything is decorated just like I wanted. Shaker is working perfectly. And now the title, I'm using the word Halloween from the stickers. And then I will add the number 2017 using some random alpha. I think those are some Page Evans older collections. I just wanted to have numbers, and I didn't have any numbers in this is Halloween collection, because there is, I don't know, maybe there is an alpha set, but I do not have it. But even if it is alpha set, it may not have numbers. Not each alphabet stickers have numbers. So I'm just placing it, adding number 2017, and my album is ready. I decorated the back cover with some tiny little elements, but I didn't show it in the video because they are just like two ephemera pieces glued down together. And I really love how it turns out. And here is the video with the clean desk, and I'm just showing you each page and how it turned out. I really like that it keeps the shape of the coffin, so I'm glad I added this top flap, and the sequins and glitter works really well in the shaker. And I'm so glad this video is almost over because I'm running out of my voice. I This is the second video I am voiceovering, so it's more than an hour of talking to myself. All the pages are done. Some of them you have seen how I am decorating them. Some of them are something you haven't seen. So this is how it looks. I really, really like this cute little Halloween collection. And I'm quite of sad that we are almost there because just right after the Halloween, all the Christmas madness starts. I like Christmas, but I do not decorate until early December because otherwise I will be just sick of Christmas before the Christmas even starts. So here it is. Let's close the album and that's it. Don't forget to check the first video where I'm showing you how to make a cover. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to add them in comments. There are also link added to the collection. And thank you so much for staying with me. I hope you like this tutorial and see you next week. I think this will be a sketchology week next week. Bye.